Good morning. What a beautiful day outside. Wow, it feels good to start the day feeling the connection to community, being together. Just another minute or so until we're ready to begin, just a little bit less than that. I hope that today is starting out in a good way. People feel rested, had a wonderful Shabbat, meaningful time with community and family and loved ones. Good to see people logging on and saying hello. Yes, it is really a lovely green day outside. It's just a wonderful thing to see. And good to see all of you. Boker Tov, good morning, and welcome to Temple Sinai of Toronto's daily Sinai Streams offering, an opportunity each day for us as a community to connect, to reflect, and to remember. And so it's really wonderful to start this new week out together and to find a way for us to move into this special time. This week is quite an intense week, with Wednesday night and Thursday being Tisha B'Av, this saddest fast in the Jewish calendar and a day of significant remembrance that we'll be focusing on this week. We'll be focusing on it through the teachings of Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Satanov in his book Cheshbon HaNefesh, Spiritual Accounting, an opportunity for us to use part of his teaching to further see within ourselves and challenge and support ourselves. But as we start this new week, let's start ourselves off together by sharing a few prayers that can strengthen us. First of all, let's join together in the English of Asher Yatzal, this prayer that celebrates the wonder, that is each of us in our ability to face the new day. Please join with me. Blessed eternal God, creator of the universe, you have fashioned our bodies with wisdom, creating within us a finely balanced network. To stand before you in prayer is itself a fragile miracle. Eternal God, we praise you as the healer of body and spirit. And let's continue in English, joining in the prayer Eloi Neshama in translation that celebrates the purity of each individual human soul. The soul that you have given me, O God, is a pure one. You have created and formed it, breathed it into me, and within me you sustain it. So long as my soul is within me, I will give thanks to you, eternal my God and God of my ancestors, source of all creation, sovereign of all souls. We praise you, eternal God, in whose hand is the power of all life and the spirit of all flesh. And as we turn now to the prayer for Torah study, let's join together in the Hebrew prayer that affirms the sacred role it is to teach and to learn, all of us having the privilege as adults to continue to learn, but also each day to be teachers to one another. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Va'arevna Adonai Eloheinu et divrei Toratcha b'finu v'b'fi amcha beit Yisrael, v'niyeh anachnu v'tzetzaenu וצאצאי עמך בית ישראל, כולנו יודעי שמך, ולומדי תורתך לשמה, ברוך אתה אדוני, המלמד תורה לעמו ישראל. And having said the blessing for Torah study, let's engage in a text together, this profound text every week, but especially this week, Elud Varim, that acknowledges the 10 social commandments that structure and guide our responsibilities in our lives. Elud Varim she'en lahem shiur. These are the obligations whose value cannot be measured. They nourish us in this world and help us to create the world to come. Kibud av va'em, to honor fathers and mothers. Ugmilut chasadim, to perform acts of love and kindness. Ashgamad Bet Hamidrash Shacharit Ve'Arvit, to attend the house of study morning and evening. Achnasat Ochim, to welcome the stranger. Uvikuch Cholim, to visit the sick. Achnasat Kala, to provide for brides and grooms. Ulvayat Hamed, to keep faith with the dead. Biyun Tfilah, to pray with sincerity. Bava'at Shalom Ben Adam Lachavero, to make peace when there is strife. The Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam, and the study of Torah is equal to them all. Well, this week, as we said, it is a very reflective week, including Tisha B'Av. So it feels like a week where we want to add psalms to our morning time. And so let's join in Boker She'amar, and then we'll join in today the song of gratitude, Psalm 100. It'll be on the right side of the page. Boker She'amar v'haya ha'olam. Blessed is the one who speaks that we might listen. Blessed is the one who acts that we might be witnesses. Bohu u'boker shemo. Blessed is the one who decides that we might accept. Blessed is the one who has mercy that we might live. Boker She'amar v'haya ha'olam. Blessed is the one who removes the darkness that we might see. Blessed is the one who lives forever that we might believe. Blessed is the one who saves and delivers that we might be redeemed. And as we start this new week, let's do so with gratitude. And feel free to join responsively or the whole psalm, or just to listen along as we share the meaning of Psalm 100, Mizmor LeTodah, a song of gratitude, originally a psalm of the thanksgiving offering, but a song of Todah, of thank you. Let all the earth sing to the eternal, find joy in the service of the sacred. May every word lead to an encounter with the divine presence. May we sense the Holy One within us and in all creation, discover sacred purpose in every moment. The Eternal is our infinitely capable Creator. God forms our purpose and potential. Enter the gates with gratitude, bring praise and thanks, and bless the divine name. The divine love of the Eternal allows us to find good in everything and strengthens the faith of each generation. Each generation has engaged in reciting Shema together, and we join with them and with those yet to come in reciting these significant sacred words offered by our ancestors in the darkest of times and in the brightest of times. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, ושבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטו אחרי לבבכם, ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת. These words really are astonishing, the way in which they remind us and challenge us to be aware that we have in fact gone free from Egypt. That while there are so many challenges and limitations to our lives, that in fact our lives are so good and so blessed that we have the responsibility of knowing what to do with our freedom. Well, during this week, this week that includes the challenging observance of Tisha B'Av. I want to do what I hope to do in the weeks leading up to Yamim Noraim, which is having taken the time to share each of the 13 plus midot, 13 plus characteristics of our nature that Rabbi Menachem Mendel Levine of Satanov challenges us to consider in spiritual accounting. I want to take a couple of them each week and have them be our focus so that we don't merely just go through each of them now and move along. In fact, in his book, he suggests we create a chart where each one of those is listed and where in any given week, we can focus on one or two of those characteristics and make those the characteristics that we work on this particular week. So because of the nature of this week, I have chosen to focus on these two characteristics that seem to me to be meaningful and appropriate not only every week, but this week in particular. We're going to start with the first and the last. The first one, called in Hebrew Menuchat HaNefesh, literally peace of the soul, translated here as equilibrium. Feel free to read the reminder with me. Rise above small events, whether good or bad, that are not worth throwing off your spiritual equilibrium. In this particular week, I want to match those with the last of the midot, the last of the characteristics that he mentions, plishut in Hebrew, abstinence. Strengthen yourself against evil or corrupt thoughts. Seek purpose, not pleasure. Well, I chose these two characteristics especially because this week, because I think Tisha B'Av, a day that reminds us of the destruction of both of the temples, a day that also becomes the day of the expulsion from Spain, a day that gathers around it so many of the disasters that were perpetrated against our people or that befell our people throughout the ages, that being aware this week of all of the difficulties, the challenges, the hate that our people has faced, I think it is a week where, especially while we acknowledge that, we need Menuchat HaNefesh. We need not to be so troubled by individual aspects of these elements that we're not settled enough to address the challenges of our day-to-day life. And at the same time, Tisha B'Av is a fast day in the middle of the hot summer, a challenging time for us to abstain from food and drink. It's something that each year I struggle with myself. That it is a reminder that in order to be able to say a meaningful yes to ourselves, in order to affirm a direction we're going to go, in order to say, wow, this is what I need or what I want or what I'm going to make happen, that in order to do that, we need to also be able to say no to ourselves. We need to be able to make decisions, easy ones and hard ones, ones that are spiritual or intellectual or physical, that have an impact on us. And so while the fast of Tisha B'Av is not so widely observed in the liberal Jewish community, meaning as a fast day, I think the act of fasting, even though our sages were aware that it can be a challenging and difficult day, a challenging and difficult practice, is one we should consider. But I will offer an alternative that comes from tradition as well, that if abstaining for a day in the middle of the hot summer from food and water is not safe for you health-wise, first of all, do not do it. Health comes first. Second of all, if it sounds like a painful challenge, consider the following one. There is a suggestion taught especially around the idea of fasting if, God forbid, someone were to allow a Torah scroll to touch the ground. Rather than abstaining from food, what about abstaining from harmful speech, from Lashon Hara, from saying things that, even if they are true, are not necessary to be said and do harm to others? So I'm going to challenge us this week First of all, to be aware of the challenges that our people have faced, of those that our society faces today, to be aware of them and yet have enough sense of our blessings not to be troubled by the smaller ones that we cannot address, as well as this week to abstain from the kind of negative speech that, like unhealthy food, does harm not only to our spirits, but to our bodies as well. Now, these principles, the way in which they're shared by Rabbi Veen, are not just unitary principles. I want to share an example that he gives in his explanation of Menuchat HaNefesh, of tranquility, I think that gave me an interesting window in how to address that idea for me. The parable that he gives is someone who has received military training. That someone who receives military training through a lengthy process of learning and practice and drills is able to take a particular situation, like a battle, that is completely frightening and unnerving for other people, and is able to maintain a sense of calm, and is able to enter the field of battle, even taking grievous risk, and at the same time to be more calm, more focused, more able to make proper decisions than anyone else would be. Now, that's an interesting example, but what I found even more significant was the way in which the rabbi continues, that this person is able to demonstrate a sense of calm even when under physical risk. And then he continues his following. He says, nevertheless, this same person, so well trained in a military situation, could be completely overcome by fear and worry in a situation that another would find completely calm and simple. That somebody could be not afraid of a battlefield and could be terrified of public speaking. That someone could be able to face a crowd in a business or speaking situation of 1,000 people and be unnerved by spending an hour with a child who needs support. That in fact, Menuchat HaNefesh, that tranquility and equilibrium, is not something that we need to work on abstractly, but rather we need to, with the rabbi's guidance, consider the following questions. What are the areas of our lives that we feel able to be calm during, that we feel able to maintain our personal sense of balance and calm? And what are the moments in our lives that tend to unnerve us, that tend to challenge us, that tend to make us much less able to hold on to our sense of calm and our sense of perspective? And during this week, as we consider that, let's also then spend more time not putting ourselves necessarily in these unnerving situations, but considering them, analyzing them, discussing them with people who love us and whom we love, and saying, well, what can I do to grow in that area? I'll continue sharing other perspectives that he shares, on these particular tasks as we go throughout our week. But in the meantime, as we share these reflections, I want us to take a moment. For many of us, medical training would be as good an example as military training. Many of us find it very difficult to deal with illness and unwellness and isolation and loss, and that's understandable. The more we can learn about it, the more we can support ourselves and allow others to support us in dealing with them. Part of the support we can offer is direct and physical and active, and yet at the same time offering prayers in addition to that is quite meaningful. And so now we turn to our prayer for refuah, for healing of the body and the soul, and wishing strength for all those who stand in guard for us. We turn to our prayer of refuah. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, ואמותינו שרה רבקה, לאה ורחל, ולרפא את כל מכותינו, יהי רצון מלפניך אדוני אלוהינו, להחרימם ולרפאותם, ישלח לנו מהרה רפואה שלמה ותרת שלום, ונאמר אמן. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless and heal all who suffer. May it be the divine will to provide healing and strength. Reveal to us the holiness of life, the wholeness of shalom, and together we say, Amen. And so now, having had a moment to connect and reflect, we're going to take a little bit of time to remember as well. And so we recall the loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own. During the period of Shloshim, the past 30 days, we extend our condolences to the families of Robert Bob Filler, Alan Fridson, Rose Rich, Benji Fruitman, Judy Gabai, Helene Frankie Springer, and Margot Grossbane. And it is our sad duty to acknowledge the death of Rabbi Mark Shapiro, husband of Marcia and son of Bernie and Pearl Shapiro, Aleichem Shalom. The funeral is still being arranged early in the week for Toronto, and the family is making memorial arrangements online as well. And on your site, on this day, on the 5th day of the month of Av, on the 26th day of July, 2020, we honor the memories of Nathan Abramowitz, Rose Applebaum, Charles Cloth, Stan Eisner, Molly Figgenbaum, Friedel Gertler, Joseph Goldberg, Robin Goldenberg, Dina Gross, Leah Harser, Charles Holzberg, Adolf Leon, Herbert Lerner, David List, Sally Lubelski, Arlene Nissenthal, Etta Rabkin, Abraham Rockman, Gloria Strom. Zichronam Levracha. May their memories be a blessing to us. Our griefs and our sympathies are mingled as we turn together in their honor to words sanctified by memory, words glorified by hope in the Kaddish Yatom. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabba, ve'alma divrach ilute ve'yamlich malchute, ve'chayechon ve'yomechon, ve'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala, v'izman kariv, v'imru, Amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה ואמרו, אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו, אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and bring comfort and strength to all who remember. And together we say, Amen. May this day be an excellent start to a meaningful and reflective and peaceful week. Shavua Tov. May it be a good week. Boker Tov. Have a great day.